Alrighty. So, resolve, this house will not go fuck himself. So, we're going to define this house as me, because it's a debate, and therefore that was what I will refer to, like the typical debate thing. When we refer to the phrase go fuck himself, what we're referring to is anal insertion. So that's my definition of go fuck himself. We're not referring to masturbation, because if that was the definition, then I would probably be going con in this resolution, because very likely this house will eventually do that. But at least for the moment, if we're referring to anal insertion, the answer is no, this house will not do it. And also by the fact that it is referring to himself, it would be referring to solo anal insertion. And that most certainly will not be occurring. So I would be interested to see, number one, why my opponent believes that this house will go fuck himself. And secondly, how my opponent can prove that this house will go fuck himself. And with that, I will turn it over to my opponent.
All right. Thank you, everybody watching. I hope that this is probably the most entertaining debate that you get in your life. So first of all, I have to disagree with the definition. So me telling someone to go fuck themselves and you being like, well, obviously I'm not going to go insert things into my anal cavity. It's like the most pedantic way to take a go fuck yourself. I'm going to define go fucking yourself as you have irritated me, therefore I want you to get the fuck away from me because obviously you're an annoying child. Right. Also, to that point, I do want to make it clear with your statement on masturbation that you are officially the face of masturbation on QallOut on 2 different occasions now. Not only are you the video interpretation of masturbation, but now you're the debate
of fake orgasms. It's very different than masturbation.
Well, is it? I mean, you're kind of having an orgasm.
I was the opposition. It should be Marin who is the face of fake orgasms, because Marin was the one who was actually talking about that.
Nope. Sucks to be you. It's your face. Your face stands out. Her camera's kind of blurry, like mine. You can't really see me, but yours face, you just pop out with that red, by the way.
Yeah.
The rosacea. So, my contentions as to why this house should go fuck himself. In my definition and in my frame, Daniel Shahan is a complete and utter prick. I once heard him tell a small child no older than 4 years old that it was fat, stupid, and couldn't read. I want everyone to understand me when I say this. He told a 4-year-old child that he's fat, stupid, and can't read. There is no good amount of refutation as to why the house should not go fuck himself for being mean to a 4-year-old child. My second reasoning as to why this house should go fuck himself is that he is an irritating person. His voice, it's so shrill. Every time I hear him, I punch puppies. Do you know how many puppies I go through a week? This is a massive problem for puppy mills in the state of North Carolina. They cannot manage enough puppies to my house because every time I hear the shrill voice, I just sock it. So that's my consequentialist argument. And then my third and final argument why he should go fuck himself is, even if you don't buy my definition that it's just an irritating action, Daniel Shahan looks like the individual who deserves a good anal insertion at least once a week. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want the grunting and sweating that comes along with anal insertions? Right? Yeah, you look at, yeah, I'm talking about prison rape here.
Okay. So apparently I have now been threatened with prison rape, which I think this would be an appropriate time to run a critique that if we're going to have certain activities that should disqualify a person from being able to win a debate, probably the top one on that list would be threatening your opponent with rape. I would say that damages the educational quality and logical credibility of a debater to the point where they should be voted against automatically. So for that reason, it would appear to me that the pro has already won this round. But to go through his arguments anyway, the first point that he had was he responded to my definitions of the resolution by saying that go fuck yourself would be referring to someone is annoying. However, this is different than the actual definitions themselves. He's just saying the context in which the words are often used. And he's right that the words are often used in the context, this person is annoying, so I will then use the phrase, go fuck yourself. But that doesn't define what the words go fuck yourself actually mean. The phrase go fuck yourself is referring to anal insertion, solo anal insertion, which my opponent still has not been able to fulfill his burden. He has not been able to show that I actually will do this. He is saying that I should do this, but he has not shown that I will do this. So I refer you back to the resolution where it says the House will not go fuck himself, as in the word will, as in I will not. So he would have to show you that this is actually going to occur, not just that I should do it, but that I will eventually do it. Now, to respond to his contentions, his first contention was that I had once told a 4-year-old that he was fat and ugly. Now, if this was the case, then I would agree that I am probably a terrible human being. However, my opponent has simply hearsay. He said that he saw it, so it's his word. My opponent had no further evidence. He had nothing to suggest this. And I can tell you from personal experience as a more qualified witness to talk about what I have or have not done, that I most certainly have not told a 4-year-old that they were fat and that they should go to hell. I did not ever do that. I actually used to coach kids' soccer games. With my brother's team. I would coach his team. And if you want evidence, you can ask any of those kids. They all thought it was awesome. So I would say that it is actually disproven that I told a 4-year-old that he was fat and ugly and should go to hell. That did not happen. Therefore, I am not a terrible person and I should not go fuck myself. And then he said that my voice is annoying and that every time he hears my voice, he punches puppies. Well, I would ask for the evidence on this. I think that by the fact that he is currently hearing my voice, I do not currently see any puppies in my opponent's video feed that is being punched right now. So I would think it has already been disproven that my voice is so annoying to him that he punches puppies. Because look, just look at it right there on his feed. There are no puppies currently being punched. He contended that there were North Carolina puppy mills that are being run through. Well, I would ask you to call those North Carolina puppy mills. Where's the evidence from these North Carolina puppy mills saying, hey, all of our puppies are getting punched to death by Joseph? I'd also like to turn this point. If Joseph is punching puppies to death so often, that would suggest that Joseph is the terrible person here, that Joseph should go fuck himself, not me. I'm not punching puppies to death. That's pretty fucking awful. And then his third point was the point about I deserve it because of my face. I'm going to concede this point. I think that anyone who does look at my face should agree, yeah, he deserves prison rape. So hopefully I will never be awful enough to wind up in prison, because I guarantee you I will not do well in prison. But if I was to be there, I would. Here's my response though. Even if I was to be in prison, I would not be going to fuck myself. I guarantee you there would be a whole list of people who would be very happy to do that for me. But overall, my opponent has never proved that I either should or will go fuck myself. Therefore, the pro should win this round.
All right. So I'm going to give it a quick background on the word and phrasing of fuck you. So I get a little, okay, no, it's all right. So back in the day, the statement fuck you came about from English longbowmen in a famous battle against the French. Yes, this is a true story. My family is derived from English and English longbowmen, very famous, the Fowlers. So during a famous battle, before the battle started and the two sides had squared off against each other, the French had basically told the English that they were going to capture all of their bowmen, which the English longbowmen was one of the most feared fighting forces in the world, that they were going to cut off their 2 fingers so they would never be able to draw a bow again. Well, after the forces were routed, And the English laid one of the most massive defeats to ever land on the face of the planet, right? So they had killed something of 70% of the French nobility, specifically with the English longbowmen. As they were retreating, the English longbowmen were giving them the finger like this, which is where we derive the middle finger. And they were saying, pluck you, which you is the line that you pluck to shoot an arrow. So that over time has derived into fuck you, which then derives into you should go fuck yourself. That's why I use the contextual definition rather than the textual definition, because it makes more sense in this context of why the house will go fuck himself. Because I just want it to mean that you just need to get away and leave, right? So my first contention, you say that it's that I am not a good enough witness, right? Well, I don't think that you're a more qualified person to say whether or not this kid told me, and that I seen that you called him fat, stupid, and said he couldn't read good, which, by the way, is bad grammar. It's bad grammar. You should know better than that, right? And then to say that you and your brother taught soccer and coached soccer and that these kids would say different, well, that's an appeal to false authority. I don't think these kids can tell whether you're a good person or a bad person, right? There's plenty of children that live with abusive parents that love their parents and say that their parents are good people, despite the fact that their parents put cigarettes out on their back. And that's what the type of person you are, Daniel. That's why you should go fuck yourself. Secondly, my name's not Joseph, it's just Joe. That's another reason you should go fuck yourself for, missing my proper pronoun of Joe. Lastly, I never threatened you with rape. I threatened you with forceful anal sex. Rape has to have a lack of consent. I never got told that there was a lack of consent. So everyone watching should know that it wasn't rape. It's forceful anal sex. It's not rape. There was no lack of consent. He never said no. He just looked down and cried. But overall, I do think that your face, you conceded that point, because you have to understand that what we're talking about is the irritating factor of Daniel Shahan to me, because I'm the one who's telling you that you will go fuck yourself. Because if it's in my parameter, right? So let's say we're face to face and we're in this confrontation and I tell you to go fuck yourself and you do not, then there will be a physical confrontation. By the end of it, you will be fucking yourself. So that is why people should negate the resolution and say that this house will go fuck himself.
Well, I think there's an important point to point out here, which is that my opponent is still stuck on this idea that I should go fuck myself. But he still has not shown you that I will. And nothing that he has shown that my mindset has changed in enough of a means so that I am eventually going to actually do this. It is entirely possible that someone else is going to do this to me, but there is nothing that he has shown that I personally am going to go fuck myself. And I can tell you, I would appear to be the most qualified source to tell you what I am or am not going to do. I am going to tell you I am not going to do that. So, end of discussion. I'm not going to do it. So that's it. Now, let's go through his points. First, he says that he's using the contextual English longbowmen who used the phrase pluck you, which eventually derived into fuck you. However, the phrase fuck you is different than the phrase go fuck yourself, because the phrase go fuck yourself is referring to the act of what you are going to do to yourself. Now, when he says fuck you, that would imply that someone else is going to fuck me. But when we use the phrase fuck yourself, that implies that I am going to do it to myself. And he still has not shown you why I would or will do that to myself. Next, he talked about how his contention. One, how I had told a 4-year-old that he was stupid, fat, and could not read good, which was bad grammar of me to have said that. I definitely apologize for apparently having said that, because that was terrible grammar on my part. What a horrible human being I must have been to use bad grammar. But using bad grammar would not suggest that I would then, after having used bad grammar, then go and fuck myself. It might be good reason for someone else to be upset at me, but it would not be enough for me to go, oh, I used bad grammar. I guess it's time to go put something up my butt now. I don't know how.
Someone just became a Catholic.
He also said that me referring to my brother and his team as proof was not enough proof because kids can't tell if I might be bad. However, my response is that I was using this to show that it is unlikely that I ever actually said the thing that he is saying, because if I had said something like that, kids would not like me. But kids do like me. I get along with them. And not because I call them fat and stupid. That would mean that I don't get along with children, because they don't like it when you call them fat, stupid, and unable to read good. So yeah, that didn't happen. I never said that. And we have evidence on the fact that I did not say that. But my opponent still has not presented you any evidence that I did say this. It's just his word against mine, which is not enough to consider it in the first place. And moreover, even if he was right, even if I did do everything bad that he would seem to be saying that I did, that still doesn't prove that I am actually going to put anything into my aim. And next, he said that his name is Joe, not Joseph. Okay. Sorry, Joe. Or Joseph. Sorry, Joseph. Sorry, Joe. Don't really care.
Fuck you. So.
And then finally, he said, he appears to have dropped his point about how my voice is so annoying that he goes and punches puppies, because obviously that's been disproven by the fact that there are no puppies that he is currently punching, and there are no puppy mills in North Carolina who are running out of puppies to be punched and murdered to death. Wait. Wow. I see that Joel has actually put in the comments that there's a true story that long time ago, the Khan, so Joseph, Joseph brought a girl.
Okay, hold on. No, he did not bring this girl back. So I want everybody to know this. He did not bring this girl back for him, right? He brought back a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
I was in charge of the barracks at the time. And me and her hit it off, and this is a true story. Me and her split away from the group, and I was dating a chick at the time, and I am not the most moral man in the world, but before we got into anything, I chickened out because I didn't want to cheat on my old lady. I was attracted to this chick. She was attracted to me. I spanked her with a belt for about 2 minutes. And then this is all true story. I don't know why you brought that up. but I spanked her for a couple of minutes. And then it was just like, she was like, yeah. And I was like, I've got shit to do. I've got to get the hell out of here.
I think that right now, based on the evidence in the round, it seems very clear that if one of us really should go fuck himself, it's not me. There's one of us who has clearly done a lot more than the other one. Anyway,
I'm a terrible person. But
the final point that you had was this idea that you did not suggest that I should be raped. You just suggested that I should endure forceful anal sex, and that I didn't technically say no. Well, part of the reason why I didn't say no is because it hadn't happened yet. But if it did happen, I am rather certain that I would be saying no. That's at least the level of probability is quite high that I would be saying no. But even if I was not saying no, I think that we should go back to this whole idea of a critique, that one of the debaters has done something which is so problematic that they should be voted against automatically just by them having done this. And this would be that my opponent is actually advocating rape culture. This idea that, oh, he didn't say no. He didn't say no. Therefore, it was okay. He's actually justifying the idea that I should be forced to have anal sex based on the fact that I didn't say no. But as I'm sure we're all aware, many people can have sex and not say no, and yet it is still not consensual, and that would qualify as the definition of rape. So my opponent is actually legitimately perpetuating the idea of rape, and the idea that if you didn't explicitly fight back, and if you didn't explicitly say no, you weren't being raped. So if you vote for my opponent in this round, you are voting for the idea that rape culture should be perpetuated and that people should be hurt. Also, you're voting for someone who admittedly has spanked a girl with a belt who he wasn't while he was dating someone else, and you're voting for someone who had apparently, by his own admission, punches puppies to death, so much so that they go through too many puppies for the state of North Carolina to be able to deal with. That person seems like the person who would have much more of a reason to go fuck himself. He still has not shown why I either should or will go fuck myself. I think the pro is clearly winning.
All right, so this is the last piece that I'm going to have on the definition, just because I looked up, you should go fuck yourself, and I got the greatest quote of all time. All right. The intent is clear. It's the meaning that's dubious. You're trying to extrapolate clear meaning from a statement of pure profanity and slang, or you're trying to validate a personal feeling of intellectual superiority by pointing out the literal meaning is absurd, which it is. A wrench slips off a bolt, and the person using it smashes their knuckles bloody. They throw the wrench across the room, screaming in pain and anger, "Go fuck yourself." I'm a mechanic. I've done that more than once. Or any number of other profanities. Ridiculous or not, it's much more efficient to scream than "I just smashed my knuckles bloody and it really hurts and now I'm really angry." More to the question, if somebody ever said that to you personally, it's because they're irritated with you. Somehow they've become the wrench that's getting thrown across the room. Either stop being irritating or ignore the mark, or accept it and continue being irritating. My personal response to "go fuck yourself"? Okay, but that's because I'm an irritating person at times and enjoy a good rousing of one's ire. So, in this debate, Daniel Shahan is the wrench in this, and I've given you 3 solid reasons as to why he should go fuck himself. And you're right, I haven't really touched on the House will go fuck himself. So now I'm going to get to that point, and I'm going to do this through the Socratic method and a little bit of cross-examination. Daniel, what is the level of duress necessary for you to go fuck yourself?
Why would I tell you that? That would seem... What? That's like asking, at what point would you start to enjoy being raped? I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, so he's not going to tell me, because if he tells me, then I use it and I win. So obviously, everyone out here knows right now, based on that answer, that there is some parameter that we can meet that the House will go fuck itself. So let's do this.
If you gave me like $10 billion, I'm sure I would do it.
Okay, what about $1 million?
Close, yeah. I mean, actually, if you could prove with certainty that I was about to receive $1 million in exchange for going and fucking myself, I think that I would be perfectly willing to concede the round as soon as I saw the check for $1 million that was about to come to me.
Okay. So I want to look at the definition of will, which is expressing the future intent and expressing inevitable events. With that definition, I can say that if the House is given a choice between $1 million and go fucking himself, then he will go fuck himself. Therefore, I think that there is some inevitability, because there's obviously some capitalists and entrepreneurs that watch this show that will offer Daniel $1 million to go fuck himself. Therefore, you should vote for the con, because the House will go fuck himself based on the definition of will.
All right. Well, I'm going to end this with in 5 minutes here. So we have 5.5 minutes here once it gets to 15 minutes left. But so to finish, I suppose, from my side, if my opponent wanted to argue this whole thing that there are capitalists who are watching this show, he needs to present some level of evidence for that. Because I have not seen any such evidence. Because it's not simply the fact that there could eventually be someone who will offer me the choice between fucking myself and $1 million. It would have to be inevitable that that is happening, that someone has probably already offered me $1 million in exchange for fucking myself. Because if that was not shown, then my opponent has not shown this inevitability, and thus the word will shows that the pro side has won this round. So when we ask the question, should this house, actually, sorry, we're not even asking that question, will this house go fuck himself? The answer has not been shown to any level of inevitability that I would or will do this. It also has not been shown that I should do this. In fact, the evidence in the round so far has certainly suggested that if either of us should go fuck themselves, the answer is my opponent, who has clearly engaged, admittedly, in destructive behavior to his friend's girl? I don't know if she was Joel's girl, but she was a girl who he then apparently took back to some scrupulous location. That's the wrong word. Some problematic location. And
it was his room. You can read the comments. It's his room.
Oh wow, and Joe apparently throws babies off of mountains. Yeah, I mean, all of the evidence that we're seeing right now suggests that the con should go fuck himself. There's no inevitability to the fact that the pro will go fuck himself or that the pro should go fuck himself. So you should vote pro.
All right, so ending this debate, I want to say that this is probably one of the most highly entertaining debates, and I think everybody should go and watch. But I do feel, as the negative case, with my final Socratic method, I do think that I broke down and I found some parameter that the house will go fuck himself. And this is... Wait. This probability is not zero.
Did you just use the phrase? Did you just use the phrase, you broke pro down? You're the one who's advocating for prison forced anal sexing me, and now you're admitting that you broke me down? Yeah. I think it's pretty clear that you're the fucking broke back
mountain. I'm gonna break you like a horse, boy. Yeah, this needs to be. All right. So he said that I had to give you evidence that there are investors that watch this. So I do want to point out that there is a debate with me and Nelly that is for investors, done with Georgia and Yaz on the other line as a live presentation for investors. That has happened. They do take these debates and show them to investors.
So you expect this debate right here is going to be shown to investors?
Come on. If you're trying to take this to an investor, it's like, let's say Louis C.K. and Roy Moore get together and they're going to invest in QallOut. Yeah, oh yeah, you're getting $1 million to shove a fucking pineapple up your ass.
Yes, but that's not, even by your statement there, you even said, let's say this happens. You didn't show any level of inevitability that this will happen.
Well, I said the probability is not zero. If the probability is not zero, then I had this discussion earlier with that person. I can try to explain this, but everybody, if you have a probability from 0.00001 to 0.99999, when you build a sequence or a series, like a Taylor polynomial, and trying to figure out, whatever it is, it will somehow always, like, let's say it's a harmonic, a harmonic series. It's always going to be equal to 1. It's been a while since I had that calculus. It's been a long time since I've done that calculus.
Your definition of the word will was that there was some level of inevitability. Not that there's this 0.03% chance that someday, if someone who is an investor and someone who is an investor is watching this specific episode, was to then offer me the specific chance of doing this. You didn't show any of that chain of link.
No, I did. And I did it with my other three contentions that someone who watches this will obviously be persuaded by me to give you $1 million to fuck yourself. At the end of the day, this is premised upon my persuasiveness to get to these investors to give you money to go fuck yourself. All jokes aside, I think this was probably my most favorite debate of all time. Thank you, Daniel. I had a fucking blast, mate.
That was awesome, man. Super fun. You have a good one, man.